camera is a bit off. Is that better? Marginally. All right, time to do our monthly legs, or whatever the cadence of this is. So, okay, first things first. I'm gonna get rid of these. So we're going to start with calves to, well, get the calf stretched and get it loose so I can get my hamstrings more loose. And then once I have that, then we'll do our box squatting. I'm going to go ahead and work the calves a bit with this because they tend to be super tight. Just to loosen up any kind of nervous system based tightness that I certainly have, but that I could loosen. Oh. Pretty. Not a ton of, doesn't seem like there's a ton of tightness that I can address with this one, but, ooh, maybe there. I do a fair bit of walking every day, well, not every day, but most days with the kid. About 45 minutes on average. So yeah, this is actually pretty painful here on the right. I'm going to bring down the speed here, which actually doesn't help much, but helps enough, I guess. Oh. Yeah, that's pretty rough. Oh my god. Okay. So, we've got to do a bit of stacking here. Let's cannibalize some of these floor mats to raise ourselves a bit. We need to bring this backwards, I believe. Something like that. and we'll get some counterweight so that the mats don't slide off so easily. So yeah, that feels pretty rough on the calves, but I'm gonna try and emphasize volume here. As you know, I tend to warm up really slowly to pretty much a working set weight, and then go from there. That feels gnarly. I really don't enjoy the way calf burn feels. Feels like it's going somewhere deep in my soul. It's no great. Okay, so seems like we did 55 kg for 12 reps, which seems rather like an impossibility to me right now. I genuinely don't understand that. Seems like all of my numbers are just falling. Oh my Lord. Why does it feel like that? It burns as precious. Oh my god. Okay. First couple of reps feel really good, but then it turns into complete agony. I would love to be supersetting everything, but I do have a bit of a limitation in terms of the weight. I would need more weight to actually be able to superset, and also maybe a bit more space. Although space is secondary, because I can make it work in most cases if I move things around. But yeah, I would probably need double the weights that I have, and weights are expensive, so obviously I could change the weights from bar to bar, but we're lazy. That's too much work. Let's put on our tracker to so that more accurately track things. Damn, it burns. Okay, so 50 for 10. That's worse than before, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna do sets, because I can probably manage that just about. Maybe for 3. I don't know, but we gotta increase something somehow. Alright, let's try and keep this as short and sweet as possible. As you can see, it's not a tremendous amount of height I can reach with this weight and the way we're doing it right now, but it's gonna have to do. I always lose, even with weights that you can manage, I always tend to lose the very top contraction. I just don't seem to be able to get there. but I don't know. We'll be testing lighter weight for more reps next, because for calves, from a hypertrophy standpoint, you really want to go higher versus lower, but it's what it is right now. Okay. All right, that's it for calves. Let's get this chair heck out of here, and let's move these to about there. There we go. Then we'll get this straight barbell out of this landmine. Get it over here. Put these cannibalized floor tiles back there. Rightful place. So, yeah, I think we have to, either I have to move the SSB bar, which is not what I want to do, or, which is the option we're doing, is put the safeties back in place. Probably one more. Go. There we go. So now we can rack the barbell here. Actually, just gonna go ahead and do a warm-up set. I got to take off my ring so I don't fuck it up. So here I'm just gonna go for a ton of volume here because I just want to get my hamstrings loose, pretty much. And obviously do volume, but just, you know, smash them with that. With that stretch, do a bunch of reps. Work the weight here. Right. I mean, the hamstring tightness, it's unreal. I cannot imagine what it's like to live life without extreme continuous hamstring tightness. I don't understand how that's even possible in the human body. But I imagine it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna keep the brakes as short as possible. I'm also gonna use the straps here because these do tax the grip, and what's most important, like once I feel like this is from like a hypertrophy standpoint, because once I feel the hands get engaged, the upper body also gets engaged. So I use these to really just focus on the lever of the hip, just the hip hinging, and this way my hands just really like, they just hang on the bar more, like, instead of me trying to pull it up, but just, you know, focusing on the lever, and then it just allows me to put the focus in the right place. Put it on the hamstring stretch, the hip hinging, and that's about it. So I wouldn't mind the grip training, but I do get it otherwise as well. And with these, I find that there's a big difference between using them versus not when it comes to focusing on the hamstrings. stage, I don't even count the reps right now. It just doesn't. It's not the focus I want to have right now. I can't believe how tight they feel. I'm surprised how good my knees feel overall. In terms of just day-to-day stuff and squatting, and that's not my issue. The issue is more of the lower back and the hips. And if I do feel something in my knee, it's because of the hips. The hamstrings and the mobility there. The issues there are causing the issues in the knee. Alright, let's get to it. At this time I'm gonna use the soft belt here just to keep me more mindful of the lower back and the core. Cool, I think that's it for the hamstrings. Starting to feel the nervous system inform of its existence. What's really cool about the weight climbing upwards is that the stretch obviously gets better and also feels better to me. Like, I don't, on every single set before that last one, the stretch feels bad. It just feels nasty. What's the word? Well, feels crappy. But with more weight, it feels good. Feels relieving. Somehow feels very natural. So that's why I really like the best way for me to stretch hamstrings is to actually do RDLs, do Romanian deadlifts. That's pretty much the only thing that stretches them in a way that actually feels good. If the resistance isn't high enough, it just feels like crap. So let's check the height of this. Does this seem all right? Yeah. Probably go one step lower. Just I prefer to unrack that way. Because obviously as there is more weight on your back, you begin to get compressed downwards. Obviously you should still remain as upright as possible, but I feel more secure when I know I can just more or less push myself into the cups and have it be dealt with that way. Again, let's get rid of the safeties here. Alright, let's get this bench wedged in there. So yeah, right now I've committed to using just the standard height here, just to try and build more mobility otherwise, and just try and get some actual meat on the bones for the legs without compromising my lower back, which again, hip mobility is the issue here. So I can really feel it in my legs that they are thoroughly undertrained. I mean, who knew that once every 2 weeks wasn't enough? I really like training legs, like quads. That feels really good to me. It's a good kind of a burn, and you can really lean hard into it, harder against it. Feel like you can just keep pushing even though you're hurting. But with, calves, for example, no such thing. Hamstrings would be fine, but the problem is usually something else gives in. Like on the RDLs, it's your lower back or your grip. But if you're on a hamstring curl, yeah, they just give out when they do. So it's not much of a pushing matter, I don't find. But yeah, quads are cool because I find that the bigger the muscle group is, that the more you can push it. Like same with back, you can just sort of like push until you just can't anymore. But with pushing movements, it feels like you just gas out faster and there's no reserve from which to draw from. So that's my super sophisticated theory. Alright, so basically the idea is to keep the tension throughout the entire movement. So I'm not actually sitting on the bench. I'm just touching the bench with my butt and initiating the upwards movement throughout. So I'm trying to keep the tension pretty much equal throughout. So in a way, these are kind of like tempo squats because, well, I should say the way I did them was more like a tempo squat, but I actually should slower down my eccentric, then go up more explosively. But I find well, actually we should try it, but I want to be mindful of the bench as I'm coming down because I don't want to smash into it. I don't want to bounce off it. So I want it to be controlled, but I don't see, there shouldn't be any reason why I couldn't come down slow, then explode up. And also with this, I'm trying to stay as upright as possible, not lean forward. The SSB does kind of like, they say that it simulates the back squat sort of more. But I just try and keep as upright as possible, which I find, and many others do as well, loads the quads more. As I'm trying to train the quads here more than anything else. So I try and stay as upright as possible, and that's the idea. But we'll try and do a slower eccentric and explode back up, but without losing the tension. I don't know how that's going to work in practice, but we can certainly try. Okay, so something like that. You can definitely feel it's a lot harder that way. Having said that, with the tempo squat approach, I felt like the tension on my quads was maybe more consistent, like the continuous tension. So hard to say. All right, I'm just going to jump back in. Let's try and make this as cardio-ic as possible, which is pretty laughable, I guess, but Alright, that's it for today for the legs. Basically, I stop whenever I feel like the nervous system is no not enjoying it. It's the muscles are fine to keep going, but I've been through this cycle so many times that I don't have an interest in repeating it. But yeah, I mean, again, in terms of some kind of just the basic stimulus that we're looking for, it's perfectly fine, all things considered. Gotta think of the big picture here, which is more like, if we stay healthy, then I can do legs pretty soon again. So that's really the main point of this session. All right, then we get the SSB back, which is usually the biggest project. Although this SSB is pretty light. Oh, it's not. Not like a huge project, but still upwardly shaped. All right. Let's wrap this up with some abs, which my preference right now is going to be the ab roller of death and despair and destruction. It's still, I don't know why it's not talked about much. I'm sure there are many. I mean, doing hanging leg raises are really good, fantastic, but it's, in terms of something that for me overall targets the entire abdominal area, I haven't found anything as good as that. But there are many options. Slow and controlled, resisting gravity and resisting losing form throughout is really the name of the game. Okay, so once again the grip giving out before everything else. So 35 minutes. That's not too bad at all. Good time, good workout. So it's good. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't, follow, subscribe, all the things available to you wherever you might be watching. And take care of yourself. I'll see you next time. Finished.